sounded so easy. But I got lost and you found me so easily. But then the world said, please tread softly, don't leave scratches on my skin. All was simple, its complexity, always begging me to let you in. I follow your silhouette, followed so easy. And round we went, yet to give in to me. Is a mystery, spoken softly like a sacred sin. Time was empty, no reality, losing grip on what we had within. Can I fool you? Can I fool you? Follow your silhouette, followed so easy. And round we went, yet to give in to me. And the answer is a mystery, spoken softly like a sacred sin. Time was empty, no reality, losing grip on what we had within. Can I fool you? Can I fool you? Can I fool you? Can I fool you? Sounded so easy. But I got lost and you found me so easily. But then the world said, please tread softly, don't leave scratches on my skin. Simple, its complexity, always begging me to let you in. I follow your silhouette, followed so easy. And round we went, yet to give in to me. And the answer is a mystery, spoken softly like a followed so easy. And round we went, yet to give in to me. And the answer is a mystery, spoken softly like a sacred sin. Time was empty, no reality, losing grip on what we had within. Can I fool you? Can I fool you? Can I fool you? Can I fool you? I have you and you have me. Sounded so easy. Ooh. But I got lost and you found me so easily. But then the world said, please tread softly, don't leave scratches on my skin. All was simple, its complexity, always begging me to let you in. I follow your silhouette, followed so easy. And round we went, yet to give in to me. And the answer is a mystery, spoken softly like a sacred sin. Time was empty, no reality, losing grip on what we had within. Can I fool you? Can I fool you? Can I fool you? Can I fool you? I follow your silhouette, followed so easy. And round we went, yet to give in to me. And the answer is a mystery, spoken softly like a sacred sin. Time was empty, no reality, losing grip on what we had within. Can I fool you? Can I fool you? Can I fool you? Can I fool you?
Hi. Hello, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. It's good to see you all. Hello. I know I'm a little late. I had a great craving for a milkshake. There's a story behind it, though. I swear, there's a story. We got story time tonight. It's not a very interesting story. I had ordered some Jack in the Box last night, and they have these thin mint like Girl Scout cookie milkshakes that just sound delectable. This sounds so delicious. And I got it, but then the person put it too close to my door last night, and then I opened my door and it just knocked the milkshake over. And I was very sad. I didn't, I wanted my 2 a.m. experience to be, sipping on a nice tasty milkshake, and instead I was scrubbing milkshake off of my porch. It was not ideal. Ugh. The flavor, it was a Girl Scout Thin Mint cookie milkshake. But so I got a refund for it. It was okay. So I went out and I got one tonight, and now I'm good. Now I'm set. Actually genuinely heartbreaking. I know, Fish. Potato, congrats on the first. Lilin, thank you for the resub for 20 months, almost hitting that 2-year mark. Icrimbus. I wish I could have heard how the text-to-speech said that. I'm really curious what it did with that one. I'll have to watch back later. Let's see. So next, hello, Potato, of course. Hello, Fish, Ace, Amy, Nix. Hello, Star. I love catching streams, but at the same time, I definitely should not be up this late. I'm so sorry. I'm a little Pacific time little lad. Oh, let's see. Let's catch up. I had iffy sushi, and now I'm waiting to see if I explode. Oh, good luck, Lilin. I heard it all goes to your thighs. And then you explode! I swear I feel like I'm just a walking SpongeBob reference sometimes. I feel like that's all that lives in my brain. But for real, I hope you're okay. Gas station food, yeah, it's the wrong place for sushi. Let's see. Sorry, catching up. Don't say it's not interesting. Everything you say is interesting. I appreciate the sweetest lie. Thank you. It's okay. Not everything. Not every story can be a hit. It's like that. It'd be like that. Watching Salem stream when you should be awake is part of the experience. That truly does feel like it sometimes. Wait, can we stop right before the exploding part? Finally moving. Drove to my mom's. Was about halfway to my endpoint earlier. Well, next, I'm glad. I hope it's been going smoothly so far. I wish you the best of luck on the rest of your trip. Still at work, this sucks. Oh, I'm sorry. I hope you get out soon, Curse. What y'all's favorite Arizona flavor? I was very adamant. Some of my older viewers might actually remember this, but I was adamantly against tea for the longest time. I was not a tea person. I'm a tea person now, with some caveats. But when I was younger, I and I can't even blame myself, because I said like anything with tea in it tastes like it has pond water. And now that's still true. I think I've just figured out what flavor of pond water that I like. I figured out that I like pond water if you put enough sugar and milk in it. Called it pond water. Yeah. I figured some of the people who had been around for a while would remember that. Very picky about iced tea. After poisoning my body with Snapple overdose. You overdosed on Snapple, Lilin? I can't even imagine. That seems hard to do. You must have been dedicated. Watch the Salem video archive and all I can think of is you just drinking vinegar. It's good and I won't be shamed for it. 2 to 3 bottles a day for the better part of a year. Oh my god, that is a lot of Snapple. You were indeed trying. What did I have like 2 or 3 of a day? I do that with food too though, where I that's all I eat. I will pick one food and that's my safe comfort food and that's what I eat for 3 years straight. I did that with Hot Pockets, I think was the big one. I did it with Hot Pockets really badly, and now I still can't... I can eat a Hot Pocket now, but it's not... There's a distinct feeling of nausea that comes along with it. For me, I ate too many. It's not on the Hot Pockets, it's on me. That's an autism trait, homie? Oh, you don't have to tell me that. I know. I don't have a medical diagnosis, but all signs point one direction. There's this drink from Panera called Charzone. Oh, I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard of the crazy caffeinated lemonade for sure. Yeah. Display of 30% vinegar concentrate near me at work. I pass it. I think Salem. I'm glad. Thank you for thinking of me. I appreciate it. It's very sweet. Every day I'm like, these memes about having autism need to stop being so relatable. Truly, the first time you really start looking into it and you start looking at a checklist and you're like, okay, check. You're like, this is really starting to look more like an ingredient list for me than a than a quiz or a checklist. Sorry, I need a little milkshake sip. These memes need to stop being so relatable, or I need to visit my psychiatrist. Yeah. Once you realize, eventually start looking back at your moments in your life and be like, "Oh, that's what that was. Oh, trust me, that's already happened." I've talked about it a little bit with family and stuff, and like as soon as, again, no official diagnosis, but it's one of those things. As soon as we all started talking about, we were all like, "Oh, that makes a lot of things make sense." That puts a lot in context. A stretch imposter check. Thank you, Amy. I feel like I'm like always just like a little bit sick. Do you guys ever have like winter seasons like that where you're just like 5% sick? You're not actually sick, you're just kind of gross all the time a little bit. And I'm not enjoying it. It's like, I don't usually get like this, but my throat just has not been clear. I feel like my throat hasn't been clear for months. Waking up coughing every morning. I've always had that though. Like it doesn't matter what the season is. I almost said the sneezing. What the season is, cause I do be sneezing every morning for some reason. Whenever I wake up, I sneeze like 74 times, and I don't know what causes it. But it's very annoying. If I'm being honest. Are you sure you're not just allergic to something? No, it's just when I wake up, I'm always stuffy. It's always been that way. It doesn't matter what I'm around, like where I am, all that. It's the sneezing, yeah. No, I don't have any allergies to anything other than like, you know, minor little, but gets worse come winter because cold and dry air. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I do prefer the dry air for my aesthetic reasons. But yeah, I mean, when I was living in Tokyo and there's, you know, had their winters are super dry, but had like the moist summers and stuff, I was like, dang, this do be kind of good for my skin though. Allergic to sleep? I better not be. I've been sleeping so much lately. Ugh. All right, here. No, we'll keep chatting, but we are gonna switch over to I know it's a league night, but we're gonna go ahead and switch over. So I will see you guys in just a moment. Oh, all right. Once again, we're far too close. We need to back up a little bit. A smidge. A smidgen. Here? I want to show off my necklace, but it feels like I'm taking up so much space. I think this should be okay, though. If your room is bright in the morning, then it could be something to do with the sudden brightness. I got blackout curtains. I do have that issue though, because a fun fact for those of you who don't know this or are only vaguely aware that this is a thing. So some people have an issue where like they looking at bright lights makes them sneeze. Like some people like walk out in the sun and they'll suddenly like start having like a sneezing fit, and it's because in some people there is an auricular nerve that crosses over with some of the nerves that like a nerve that's associated with your sinuses or something with the sneeze reflex. And so the shock to your eyes when your pupils suddenly have to dilate will actually sort of like strike up against the nerve that makes you sneeze as it's passing through. And so that's why bright lights got to make some people sneeze. But it's only like 25% of people. So sometimes you'll say you'll be like, "Ah, it's so bright, it makes me sneeze," and then I feel like they had like a subtle New York accent. There was a little bit of like a Philadelphia thing in there. But it's only like 25% of people that happens to. So some people just gonna have no idea what you're talking about. That's all something I read on the internet. It's probably true because why would anybody lie on the internet? But that's all I can offer. Let's see. It's the olfactory. That's the word I was looking for. I was like the sniffer reflex. Olfactory nerve is what I was looking for. The Achoo syndrome. Stupid thing related to that happened to me. I tried Discord light mode to test something once. It almost made me sneeze. Yeah, I almost the first time I opened my curtains or something in the morning or anything like that. It's sneezing time, baby. That's my favorite part of the movie is when he said it's sneezing time and then he sneezed all over the place. I am so EP. I must abscond. Next, please get some rest if you need it. I am gonna let everybody know I'm streaming now, so nobody tries to hop in or message me any funky messages without knowing I'm online. Let me hold on. We gotta the tunes. Where are the tunes? Oh, we got the meows. Hold on, let my boy. Oh no, out. He's in here already. I didn't even know that. was like, wow, that meow is so clear for coming from the other side of the door. The meows are coming from inside the house. Stretch, thank you, Luvella. All right. So the tunes. Here we go. Here we go. Now there's the tunes. Gotta turn that down on my end because it's so loud. It's just so incredibly loud. There we go. As always, if that needs raising, if it's too quiet, too loud, by anything that needs adjusting, just let me know, and I will do my best. And then let me make sure we got our game audio. Well, we should. We'll find out, I suppose. Don't yawn. You make me yawn. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's contagious. Oh, I'm so sorry, Ace. Mona, hello. Hello, hello. How are you doing? What are you up to? To be fair, Sam was a dream much. It makes sense that their yawns are strong. Yeah. There's a lot of sleep charged up in those yawns, you know? That's where the sleep is stored, in the yawns. My yawns resonate with sleepy magic. Gonna have me get up and get in bed and snuggle up, get cozy, get snuggly. Yeah. Okay, there we go. I was like, where's Lee at? Dream which I need your strongest yawns. You can't handle my strongest yawns. Nobody can. I feel like that voice, that like nobody can. It's like a step away from being the voice of the slug lady in Monsters Inc. I'm really bordering up on that line. Doing my normal danger strategy. Ah! There was a set in there. I don't like that. Go away. Get in your lane. Set. Let me steal your monsters. There we go. Why? Set, go in your lane. Okay, I think he's going in his lane. True sleep will be achieved at the yawn of time. The yawn of time is a pretty good one. I like that. Okay, and now I'm hoping my top lane just keeps Set distracted up there for me. Just help me out. Did you know Arcane Season 2 will come out this November? I don't actually know, I don't know much about Arcane. I know it looks very cool. I know a lot of people seem to like it. But beyond that, I still need to watch it. I think there's enough people that seem to think it was very good, and I guess if I'm getting into League, I guess that feels like a That feels like a requirement. Oh no. Hopefully, okay. I still see set out here. We're good. We're good. It's new to me. Sounds like a good ingredient for baking. Oh, vanilla sugar? Ooh, that does sound good. That, like, doesn't even... I mean, it sounds like a good ingredient for baking, too, but it also just sounds like a good ingredient for eating. That just sounds kind of delicious. I could go for some of that. Always watching Mike Wazowski. Always watching. I feel like I will say that's a little better than I would have expected myself to be able to do. But I feel like she's sort of one of those characters that's like, how do you put this? Like she's like a Yoda type character where like everybody has like some kind of impersonation of her, you know. Everybody's got a Yoda. Everybody's got a Monsters Inc. slug lady. Jungle Gym, yeah, yeah. Did that voice so well. I don't know if that's a good. I don't know if I like that. Gonna order some vanilla salt. Ooh, you guys got some interesting vanilla stuff. I might have to check out. Vanilla salt. I will say. You know what I've realized watching this though? Like whenever I see this, I'm like, oh, somebody stole my minions. I was like, which is fine. I do that to the other team, so I'm not complaining about it. Um, but yeah, like every time I see that, I'm like, oh no, the other team came and invaded my jungle. But a lot of the time, I realize that's not what's happening. Oh God. Thank you. I was like, I mean, all my stuff's on cooldowns. I really can do nothing here. But I didn't want him to let him steal my frog. But yeah, I've realized. So I keep thinking, oh, you know, the other team is coming in and taking my little guy over here. That's what I thought was happening. But then, like in the matches, I kind of started, you know, checking out what my teammates were doing a little bit more, trying to have more situational awareness and stuff of the map. Hold on, can I take this one down? Yeah, I think I can. Oh, dang. Oh, I was hoping my bleed would get him. It did not. So close. So close. For my friend group, it's everyone has a Muppet impression. Yeah, I feel like that's another one, like a Kermit or I honestly, it's been so long I don't know the Muppets' names. Miss Muffet. That's that's the pig, right? The pig lady. New ASMR character unlocked. Monsters Inc. Slug Lady. Yeah, I'm sure that's gonna be going to the top of my analytics, baby. Oh, I should have bought while I was after I was sent back. After I was hit the quick reload on my with my death. Oh, Miss Piggy. I think maybe I was incorporating fairy tale names into the Muppets. Maybe Miss Piggy. Okay, yeah. I was overcomplicating it. Okay, I think we get to level 6. We get back, we see what we can buy. Is that gonna hit? It's not. And then we see if we can sweep in, get this dragon. I've been trying to do a Gonzo impression, but the best I've got is we have Marge Simpson. Oh no, Lillian. I actually am not sure. Oh no, we're doing okay. For a second, I was like, we're kind of not doing so hot, are we? I see you down there, Jax. Oh, it's sort of like there's sometimes like that where I'm just like, I'm just gonna try and do as much damage as I can. I don't think I can get out of here. He keeps finding me as the second that all my stuff's going on cooldown. He's hunting me out. He got a nose for me. Okay, if Jax was over there, it's possible that they're going for why am I suddenly forgetting the name? Big nasty insect boy over here. So maybe we try and get the dragon? Perhaps? Mayhappily? Jack's probably stealing your red. It's okay. If we can get the dragon, he can have it. He can have it. Just wanted that level up to get my R. How are we looking down here? Possibly coming out to see if I can just stand there out in the open. If they can drag Ash out a little bit more, I might be able to sneak in and get one off, but my favorite is Swedish Chef. No, I'm waiting for a while, but ooh, they're going over here. Okay. What are we trying to do over here? What do we got going on? Thank you for taking care of that, my dear teammate. It's funny, as far as like accents with no! Well, if I know they're over there, at least maybe I can sneak and get the dragon. I was I was fully gonna say something and no idea what it was anymore. Seeing the enemy team getting that Rift Herald really scrambled my brains. Something I'm not familiar with. The jungle camps give buffs in this. Yeah. I think just there is like a what would you call it? Like a minion or something that's like right here, and then there's one over here too on the map. So each side gets 2, but I always go in and I try to steal one from my enemy. Can we see this set up here? Try and see if we can arrive right about when. No, Set, don't move! What are you doing? That's my ultimate. That's a lot of time. I gotta wait for that to come back, Set. That was very rude of you. Did he go in the bushes? Where is he? Where is this man? All right. Jinx, hello. Thank you for the raid. It's good to see you. Jax. No, I did even worse against him that time. Oh my gosh. But Jinx, hello. It's good to see you. I hope you had a good stream. Thank you for stopping by. Hello. What were you up to tonight? I hope you're able to grab a little snack and sip if you're in need of some recharging. Hello. Just for everybody new stopping in, hello, it's good to see you. It's nice to meet you. My name's Salem. I am an ASM artist over on YouTube. I make a lot of Monster Boy content. I do a lot of kind of softer audios and stuff, and just kind of got back into doing that now. I stream. That was not the direction I meant to send them, but sure, you could take a vacation. Lately I've been streaming just a lot of brain rot stuff, admittedly a lot of League of Legends. But I normally do a lot of ASMR streams and tarot card readings and stuff like that too. So happy to have you around for those of you who would like to join the coven. And once again, Jinx, thank you so much for bringing everybody by. Briar, yeah, she's very fun. I really enjoy her play style. It's a bit aggressive, and I've learned that's apparently how I like to play a lot of games. Tech, hello, how you doing? Hope you're cozy. I'm no stranger to brain rot. Do not look at my last stream title. It's okay. I don't see. I have no eyes. Look, see. All right, we'll finish up this man's kill for him. Ah! There's two of them. They sandwiched me. I got taken out. Salem has also played Hades once or twice, but you know, hey, maybe once or twice. Is that what you were playing, Jinx? Were you playing some Hades, or was that just a conveniently timed comment? Let's see. Can't really buy anything that I'm looking for right now. Oh, wait. No, I can buy something I'm looking for. What am I talking about? Get back up there, Briar. Get back up there. Okay. I was playing Fortnite. Oh, gotcha. I played a little bit of that too. I'm not very good at it. I've noticed I've had more games lately that feel like they're... I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I feel like my win rate and stuff hasn't necessarily improved a lot in like the last like couple days, but I do feel like I'm playing a lot more games where sort of like where there's more competition. It's not like a landslide win for either side. It's not like my team or the enemy team is like just having a blowout or anything like that. Which seems like it's probably a good thing. This set really has our... What's this champion's name? Really has our Darius's number, don't he? Let's see. Oh, did he already take that? Oh, he already took that first one down. I didn't know that. Okay. I had not noticed. We got this one taken out too. Oh, how are we doing? Okay. Let's go this way. Okay. No! I was wondering where they were. I had a feeling. Oh, I shouldn't have ran into this. This was this was me choosing to run into the bad place. Yeah, that was my fault. It's okay. Warm up round. Warm up round. Can't stay up long tonight since I have D&D tomorrow. Sorry, I'm still wrangling this milkshake. Okay. Come on. Come on. Ah! Yes! Hey, we got him! Oh, except for now, I'm like right about to go in and die to some minions. Okay, well, I didn't want to get too close, so I'm sorry I didn't help out very much with her. But you guys got this. Okay, now we're gonna go get one dragon at least, so they don't clean sweep us. But yeah, Potato, I hope you enjoy your D&D tomorrow. That's always exciting, always a fun time. Maybe I need to regain a little bit of health. Okay, I think we're okay here now. What do we? I don't think so, ma'am. That keeps coming a little late, but mostly I just need the health recharged, if I'm being honest. Alright, I'm gonna trust you, team, to help me keep taking care of that. just keep these guys off of us for a little while. Okay, I think we recall. Is the milkshake now? It's getting there. It's still not quite melty enough to drink though. It's mostly just because it's got a lot of it's a Girl Scout Thin Mint flavored milkshake, so there's a lot of little crumblies in it. They're very delicious, but my straw is not big enough. I need like a boba sized straw. I saw that Jack in the Box actually had what did they have? Boba, they had boba milk tea. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean Jack in the Box has boba milk tea? I was almost tempted to get some to try it because I wanted to see how it compared to just like my local boba place, but I was in the mood for I was feeling the season, feeling the Christmas spirit. Just because my town we had a lot of Christmas stuff going on where I am today. Ooh, this is not good. This is quite bad, actually. Hold on, let's see. Can we pincer him? Can we pincer him? Get him with a classic pincer? All right, we shoved one out into danger, so I'll take it as a win. Don't you guys turn it into an L now, please. Salem's corruption arc starting from League of Legends, though ASMR all mukbang now. No! Never trust a team, rookie mistake. I am learning that a little bit sometimes. Thinking potato has the right idea. Feeling more than a little eepy myself. Well, I hope you get some good rest. Please. Oh, I actually need to buy that. Yeah, please sleep well. I will do my best to send those of you heading off for some sleepy times. I will do my best to send you some good dreams. Yeah, we are not doing so hot. We're not forever behind, but we're a little too behind. Yeah, this one's not looking so hot. I think we'll we'll agree to a surrender this time. Oh, maybe not though. Nope, surrender vote failed. All right, we're in this. Well, if nothing else, what are you doing over here? What are you doing over here? Why did that run out so fast? All right, I guess I'm not catching them. Dang, I committed too hard. Shouldn't have commit that hard. That was my bad. That's my bad. Thick shakes with a spoon are the best. I honestly, I don't know, it's too messy for me. I prefer a slightly thinner milkshake with a straw. I like the drinkability, I'll be honest. Jack in the Box has boba. I know. That was my reaction. I was like, I gotta try this one of these days. But not today, apparently. I think right now we gotta get some of these bad boys. They're so close to our base. We gotta get them to back off a little bit. Get out of here. Get out of here. Scram. Scram. What's the vine? Something about, you're just like your father. Get out of here. Do-do-do-do. Let's see if we can lead the way for some of these little guys. See if we could. What Darius? Where were you? What are you doing? Oh yeah, we could take this down real quick. We got this. We got this, boys. Let's go, lesbians. Okay, we'll just see how far we can get them. Probably be careful, because there's probably going to be people coming up nearby now. Just need to please just let me recharge. Ah! My cooldowns. My cooldowns. You know, they say people like boba so much because it taps into our primal desire to slurp up tadpoles. I will not be taking that into account. That's ooh, not a good one. I like boba so much because then you get a fun little snack and a fun little drink at the same time. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It looked like we might be able to bring that one back. Like maybe it was just because I've noticed sometimes you get like an assortment of characters that like are worse at the early game, but then they like Briar like scales better. Like she gets much better in the late game. And so, you know, I always try and hold out and see if maybe this is like an early game versus late game difference if things start going sour. But I think that was just a skill issue. I'm surprised their jacks didn't do more damage. They seem pretty good. The boba makes me feel like I'm gonna choke when I eat them, and the drink is always too sweet for me. Yeah, look, I get that. For me, sometimes honestly, I can't get them to make it sweet enough. But, no, yeah, it's I just like the boba. It's just pleasant. It's chewy. It's delicious. Stick to my coffee. Jack in the Box did have boba coffee as well. Hey Ace, they got it right there just for you. Stretch imposter check. Thank you so much, Amy. Ay 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 ay. Boba coffee sounds like it slap. Yeah. I mean, like, if you like coffee, I can imagine. I could see it being a good combo. I'm not a coffee person personally. It's much too bitter for me. I am like little baby. Jack in the Box has everything apparently. Yeah. I never had Jack in the Box often before I started eating meat again, because there's really not any vegetarian options there. They are probably one of the least vegetarian friendly restaurants. Yeah, because like Taco Bell surprisingly is one of the best, because I think a lot of people think like, oh yeah, so you know, Taco Bell, everything has meat in it and stuff. But no, you can substitute all the meat in everything with beans, and it tastes almost exactly the same. But yeah, Jack in the Box in particular, quite bad for vegetarians, I'll admit. Alright, we do our sneaking. Also, Prince Mooski, hello. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Welcome to the coven. Glad to have you here with us. Hope you're comfy. Hope you're cozy. Well, I came in a weird way. I don't like coming in this way because it feels like it's more exposed. I guess you're kind of scoping things out more, but it's not great for me. Salem strikes me as a tea person. I was not for the very longest time. For the longest time, I was just talking about this actually. I would call tea pond water. And I said it all tastes the same. There is still some, like, I still understand where my disdain for tea came from, because I still can't drink it without absolutely overloading it with sugar and creamer and milk and drinking like mint chocolate tea. You know, I'm not out here sipping on like an aged, dried, fine Earl Grey or anything like that. Growing love coffee, especially cold brew. I tried cold brew because I thought maybe it would be less bitter. And I guess it was, but it was sort of not enough not enough to make a difference. Oh, I'm doing this weird. I usually like to go for the wolves first too, because a little close. That way I don't end up like backtracking into some place that an enemy champion might be. Hi, love your model. Mooski, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, just recently made some very minor color adjustments and stuff that I thought were kind of fun. So I'm happy to hear that you like it. Do you see DM from earlier today on Discord? I did not. I will check it out later, though. I'm quite behind on my messages at this moment. Salem's the kind of witch who drinks Monster from an antique teacup. Lillian knows me too well. Lillian be clocking my vibes out here. I feel uncomfortable being so known. Oh, the harrowing experience of being known. I do have a very large drinkware collection. I actually don't have enough space for my drinkware at this moment. I kind of have some of it just put in like storage isn't quite the right word, but I have some of it just like up like on display because I have no room to actually put it in my kitchen where the foodstuffs goes. No, who are you? Why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you in my home? All right. I know crit's not great to get when you don't have any attack damage stuff, but I gotta get something. I'm here, ain't I? Oh, I just clicked a link and I did not mean to for something. No, please don't freeze my everything. No, they stole my little guys. They didn't come from over here, did they? Did they? Oh, okay, I was like, oh, they stole my little guys. I promise I'm not like, every time it happens, I feel like I'm so displeased, I guess. Maybe I can't think of the right word, but like so shocked. I'm just beside myself as I'm doing the same thing to them. I am also stealing their monsters. How long have you been playing League? About a week. I think probably about that. Yeah, not very long, but I've sort of brain rotted it where I got into it and then decided I really liked it and I was gonna make it my whole personality. Yeah, no, I had a couple friends who were very kind about like introducing me to it and showing me how stuff worked and explaining some of the mechanics and everything though, so yeah. Not long. I'm new, but I'm passionate. Any little guys over here? No little guys. I love this song. It's just like, you always got that one song that you could always jam to. And I feel like this is like one of those for me. I'll be jamming to some gacked. To me, it's less bitter and the acidity is toned way down. Helps my acid reflux a lot. Gotcha. Yeah, I think it's like I can definitely agree it's less bitter for sure. But I think for me, it's just like the fact that there is even the amount of bitterness left in it. Is this too much for me? Hold on, I gotta hide in a bush to catch up on my chat. Guy who can afford 2 longswords voice. Yeah, I know Crit is the best. I'm not, but those are like the third tier. There's the down here, the longswords. I'm not buying a longsword. Salem with the porcelain tea set ad and clicking it as it pops up. League is hard, really hard to get into as a new player. I can for sure, yeah, for sure. I can see that. It's there's a lot to it that is not the most self-explanatory. Can I do this? Can we get this one out? Yes, yes. No? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? I was gonna take you out. Oh, sad. Sasaki's in. Hello. Thank you for the follow. Also, much appreciated. Welcome in. I hope you're cozy. I hope you're comfy. And welcome to the coven. Thank you so much for stopping in. Have you ever listened to Much 100 Gex? No, but there was a time where somebody asked me that, and I was like, I don't know what a Gek is. That was my legitimate response to the question, have you listened to 100 Gex? I said, no, I don't know what a Gek is. I haven't even listened to one Gek. Oh, audio for your music is getting a little crunchy. Let me... Sorry, give me a second. I will try to fix that. Okay, there's that. Stop now, but it was earlier. Okay, well, I'm changing a couple things to see if they will sound. Well, there's no game audio either. League of Legends. I'm sorry, team. I know I'm letting you down. I know. Okay, here we go. It's okay. I was waiting for my farm to respawn. That's all. That's all. Yeah, okay. Yeah, if the audio starts getting crunchy again, honestly, I will say there's not much more I could do besides turn it off and turn it back on again, but that does seem to fix it sometimes, so. Oh, they got the first dragon? Yeah, I was too busy meddling around. Oh, Trindamir's just going for it. All right. Let's go. That's not what I wanted you to... Absolutely not. Why would you think that's where I was trying to aim that? There we go. There we go. All right, I'm going to trust you with that, Trindamir. You take care of that Rift Herald like it was your own child. I've realized, I think sometimes people get the Rift Herald and then they don't realize that they have the Rift Herald. Because then they will... Okay, I'm glad they... But I've had it happen where a couple people, like somebody accidentally grabbed the Rift Herald from me, and then they just sort of never planted it anywhere. And I was like, that felt like it could have possibly been slightly more impactful. But at least the other team didn't get it, I guess. Well, there's nothing else I can really do here, so... Goodbye! Farewell, Avidase. I'm off to steal your minions. No, don't go that way. It's a bad direction. What y'all be doing down here? What y'all be doing over here? Oh, that's literally every last one of them. Hey, we got the Yasuo at least. Thank you. Thank you, team. Big. I think... No, get me out of here, get me out of here, get me out of here. Jesus. Jesus. No! I didn't hit my W fast enough and I died to the minions! You've got to be kidding me. Oh, how embarrassing. It's milkshake. It's milkshake time. We need a milkshake break. Please, the crunchies are just slightly too big. It's okay, team. I promise. I didn't disconnect. I'm still here, Nyla. I'm still here. A Salem in a Briar outfit peeking over a wall going, what you guys doing over there? Honestly, I would wear it. I think it's fun. It's cool. Briar's got a cool outfit. First turret. All right, team. Let's go. Let's go, lesbians. Okay, so they got the first dragon. Wait, no! No! I just wanna... No! No! Yes! 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 We're doing it! We've done it. I contributed very little to that, I'll fully admit, but I appreciate you guys. My team really came in clutch there. Okay, alright. We're taking this. We're taking this tower, Yone. This is ours. It's ours. Nice. We're doing so good, guys. No little secret peoples in here? We got a little damage off on him. Not as much as I would like, but it's something. Don't you dare. We got him. Nice. Oh, there's two of you over there. I don't know if I can do that. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I couldn't help you. It's okay. Call me a bad jungler. Call me a bad jungler. You're probably not wrong. It's okay. It's okay. I'm making up for it. Jungler extraordinaire coming in. Gonna make a quick omelet and sausage. Oh, that sounds like a nice breakfast. Hope you enjoy your breakfast for breakfast. Breakfast for dinner. We just don't know. All right. Okay, get in the grass. Get in the tall grass. Where is this most likely to be impactful? Probably. We might be able to take this one out. We might be able to. Let's see if we can get our minions down here. Real talk, breakfast for dinner just hits different. It do kinda, yeah. Alright. We're taking this one out. I'm gonna leave the rest of that to you, my man. I'm gonna jump out here. Cause this is my job. Create chaos and then run away. I realize that really kind of is the jungler's job. Oh, there's two of you down here? What's there two of you down here for? There's three of you down here. Okay, retreat. Could just be that I really enjoy anything that has eggs in it, but sometimes you want eggs and pancakes, and they'd not be morning. I feel like the breakfast food that I end up craving the most outside of morning is pancakes. There's just something about them. I feel like especially when you're talking like that like the experience of like going to like a Denny's or something like that. Well, Yasuo, what are you doing way down in here? My man? No, you wanted to be in here. What did you want out here, my man? Tell me what you wanted out here other than that. Okay, whole other team's dead. Quick, kill the dragon. That truly is like my, just speaking of like Denny's and stuff, maybe think about this though. But that truly, like the 2 a.m. like Denny's or 2 a.m. IHOP or whatever, that's like always my favorite thing about con experiences. Like it truly is just going and getting a milkshake at 2 a.m. I got milkshakes on the brain today, apparently. I'm sorry. But yeah, just like going and what are you doing? All right, we got. Take him down. You guys got this. Nice. But yeah, just like that 2 a.m. experience of going to the IHOP and getting a milkshake, and then looking over and Sephiroth Final Fantasy is chowing down a 3 a.m. burger. Across from you, wig is half on. Costume is half changed. There's Sephiroth from the waist up. They're ducky print pajama pants from the waist down. It's just such a fun experience, I think. Music's getting funky. Oh, I don't know why. It shouldn't be. Obviously it is, but I don't know why. Give me... We'll see. We'll give it a second to see if it figures itself out. And then if it does not, let me know. Well, they got a couple teammates dead. Maybe we could take the, Oh, God, I got so much money. Tycho would kill me. Okay, so I think we take the Rift Herald while they got one teammate down. And we see if we're... Not the Herald, but... We'll see if my teammates come back me up on this one. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Oh, nope, that time they didn't. All right, team, sure. That's how it's going to be, I see. Okay, I've now bought things. Yeah, because I mean, everything seems like it's going pretty well this time around. We got all but bot lane, one turret still standing. So, well, now why? Somebody trying to go after Baron again? Why are we trying to do that when a bunch of our team is dead? Oh, he's gonna move. I would love it if we could just take out one more person before going after this after this little guy. I gotta stop calling everything a little guy. Not everything can be a little guy. Sometimes it's a big guy. Also, the Frozen Willow. I'm so sorry. I just saw this. But hello. Welcome to the Coven. I'm glad to have you here with us. Thank you for stopping in. Oh, now this is how we want to play. Is it Yasuo? We're going to tag team you. We're coming for you. Not everything can be a little guy. Not with that attitude. Oh, hey, you guys got him. Nice. Oh, I didn't even see there was somebody else right here. Hey, nice. Okay. All right. Are you Nyla? I thought you were okay. I was like, I thought you were coming to help me with this, please. I have soloed this thing a couple of times with Briar before, but I have to be like level 14 or 15 to do it. Not quite strong enough at this point. Nice. All right, everybody. Let's go, lesbians. As has been stated. All right. Benda, hello. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Okay, so everybody is dead, so we just have to be aware that they are all going to come back at one time. Until then, we are free to do as we please. Okay, I think I try and take this inhibitor out, and then I run like the wind. Maybe I run like the wind now. Yeah, I did not... I had a feeling that Yasuo or somebody might be coming for me. Oh, it was so close, too. Yeah. Let's go get that Drake. I can't remember if I read this already, but not everything can be a little guy. Not with that attitude. I'm sorry, Lil. I should have believed harder. That was a fault on me, actually, specifically. Nice, Nyla. Thank you so much. You're very helpful. I appreciate you. Ooh, okay. Sounds like we're making progress. What are you two doing up here? Oh, they're gonna move. There's no way. That was That was poorly planned. Don't worry, I'm coming for him. Oh, that's bad. Ah, dang. I was hoping. It was close. Nice. Good follow-up, team. I did lose that Baron buff, which hurts a little bit, but... Oh! Did we get a win? Nice. Sometimes that really surprises me more than I think it should. Milkshake munching sounds. Nom 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 nom. This Nyla was really doing pretty good. She was putting in the work, putting in the hours. Rise and grind. Oh, she came in on that grind set. Oh, I did bad this round a bit, huh? Oh, we got some of the objectives and stuff though. The triple Salem jump scare. At this point, it's a feature and not a bug. That's where I'm taking it. It's a feature, not a bug. We got a new token. Anything rare? Anything special? Oh, just the top 10%. So the top 1% ones that I have are take more of the opponent's jungle than them. Kill Baron Nashor solo, which, like I said, I've managed a couple times. I guess 3 times now with Briar, but it's not my favorite thing to do, but it has worked out. And then as jungler, take 3 of the first 4 buff camps. This is why when Tycho saw my tokens, he was like, "Hey, what rancid little playstyle did you pick up, you little nasty?" It was very funny. Gotta make official lore for both Salamander Amigo and second Astro Salem. There's too many. There's too many of them. Because now what do we got? We got second Astro Salem. We got third Astro Salem. We got Chibi Lum. We got Nightmare Lum. We got 3D Lum. There's too many Lums. Get rid of the Sasalum Lums. Too many. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. I just want this milkshake to stop fighting me. I just need a bigger straw. I don't think I have any milkshake straws or like boba straws or anything. I need to make that character alignment chart for all the Salems. I still hold that Chibi-Lum is chaotic evil. Can you stir the milkshake? Maybe that'll help break it up. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just some of the bits are just too, they're just too chunky. All right, sad whimsical Briar versus Briar, I see. Hold on, let's see if it pops up on stream like it should. Hello? There we go. Yeah, we got some Briar on Briar fight tonight. Please wish me luck. I haven't been playing this game very long. Literally all I've played is Briar. Truly, if the jungler position isn't open, I know you can. Okay, so I have a story also about this. So I was shook the other day. I was absolutely shocked because I was playing League of Legends. I was just playing some, off the stream, and so my understanding of how the queues worked in League of Legends is that I thought you had to. This is the wrong way. I thought you picked a character, and that character had one role. I thought you could only play that character, like Briar, for example. Her role is the jungler. So I thought you could only play her as a jungler. It turns out that is not true. You can play any character in any position, but they all sort of have like a default, recommended position. And I managed to, because somehow through some mix-up of me pressing buttons, I accidentally got Briar as a support character for playing down, because normally 2 people go down in the bottom. One of them is just like the ADC, I think is the acronym. Attack damage control something. I don't know. It's a term I hadn't heard before. But yeah, and then there is a support that goes with them. And so apparently you can, like I said, put any character as that role. So I ended up playing support Briar with a friend of mine. And I literally had sent this a screenshot to a couple friends. I was like, hey, is this normal? Should this be able to happen? I full on thought it was a glitch in the game. I just did not realize that you could play any character in any position. So support Briar it was. Attack damage carry, yeah, I figured I got something in there wrong. There we go. It's the Briar battle here. That was truly just luck. There was no skill involved in that. We're both so low level. It was just whose cooldown was better timed when that interaction started. But yeah, they do let you have both characters on the same team as well. Yeah, so you could have a Briar off. Determine who the best jungler is between the 2 of us. The superior Briar main, yeah. Briar is the only character I know at this point, though. I've gotten an A on her a couple of times. My goal is kind of roughly to try and get an S with her, and once I can get an S rank grade, even if it's an S minus, I suppose I'll take it. Then I think I'm going to switch over and maybe try some of the other... I think I'm going to stay in the jungler position because I do really like it. Because when I played Briar support, just sort of being in the bottom lane, I was like, oh, well... it was fun. I liked it. I had fun with the game and everything, but it was just I don't want to be stuck in any of the lanes, I guess. Jungler is very fun to me because you just run around. Truly, your job is kind of just to create chaos. And I don't know. There's something I think there is some degree where playing all of the positions would help you understand all of the positions better. Like, you know, if I were to play like top lane, mid lane, bot lane, whatever, they snuck in here. They snuck in into my home. I can't remember if I finished this thought earlier, but I did realize that sometimes it's not actually my own team that's or it's not the other team that's sneaking in here and doing this. It's my own team. I've looked a couple times, and so just real quick for people who don't play League, essentially this like is my side of the base. This is our team side, kind of quote unquote. So like all of the monsters in here and all of the monsters in here are supposed to be my farms, and then this is supposed to be the farms for the enemy team. But I always sneak in here, and I start here first because the enemy usually starts here. And then I'll trace my way back, and usually that way I end up with 3 camps, and they only end up with 1. So it kind of puts me a level advantage. But sometimes my final camp, like over here, will be empty. And I had always been thinking, like, oh dang, it's my enemy is coming in and they're sneaking in and they're taking it before I can get to it. That's what I'm doing to them, so I can't complain. But I realized that's not what's always happening. Sometimes it's the players in my own team who are farming my camps. And I'm like, you guys, please don't do that. I'm like, I don't want to be rude, but that's literally how I level up. That's what's that's there for me to level up. I can't do it if you guys are taking my kills. Spider-Man pointing meme. Yeah, kinda. Oh, baby cage. Oh, I hate this man's skill. Always with the baby cage. You come into my home, you insult my mints. I just wanted this thin mint milkshake to be a little smoother than it is. I'm so sorry, I won't shut up about this stupid milkshake. Oh my gosh, also, just speaking of dairy in general, if you guys haven't seen it, Tycho made a little clip of, I think it was like the first stream that he came on and played League with me, and it was just like, just stupid little comments about, it's just very funny. Tycho's just a funny guy. Nice, take down the other Briar, there can only be one. J-Banda, thank you for the follow. Hello. Welcome in. Glad to have you here with us. Hope you're having a nice cozy time zone over there. And welcome to the Coven. Okay, so it looks like we're maybe not starting off so hot. Who is it that's doing all that? Okay, so it's somebody so it's the Ashe in their bot lane. That's really really crumbling our cookies over here. That felt like the most like Nickelodeon kids kids Disney kind of that really crumbles my cookies. I was just talking earlier about sounding like a freaking Looney Tune. Oh, do we have an Ashe too? Okay, so it's their Ashe that is causing issues from what I can tell. Oh, maybe I was seeing our Ashe getting those kills. Wait, hold on. Which one is... No, that is their Ashe getting the kills. Okay, I got confused because 2 Briars. The what after you said my friend is a glass of milk? That was pretty good, though. There we go, there we go. How are we doing up here? Maybe we could clear out this... We can clear out this Velgar, then I'll feel a little safer going to the dragon. See if there's... What is this circle? I see this happen sometimes, and I don't know what it is. It's somebody's ultimate or something, I'm sure, and I just don't know what to do about it. Their Briar just came back, so I'm gonna try and skedaddle. I don't want to let him have this dragon. Unfortunately, this Ashe is... What's the Xerath, I guess. Absolutely tearing it up. Why are you alive? Why are you alive? Xerath, where'd you go? Okay, this Ashe seems very dangerous because she's killing everybody, so I'm gonna maybe stay away from her. Double mirror. Actually, yeah, I hadn't really thought about that, but yeah, there's kind of a funky a mirror thing going on with our teams here. Yes, we got the 2 Briars, the 2 Ashes. I've tried Oreo red velvet flavor. It tastes like cheesecake. I can't remember if I've had the red velvet flavor. I've had the I just need to get them out of here. Oh, ugh. Well, it got him off our tower at least, so I'll take it. Yeah, I don't know that I've tried the red velvet flavor ones, but I have had the birthday cake ones. And they were very good. Those also were quite delectable. But there are like a lot of times I think with the Oreos like that where I kind of want to get an idea if they're... Was that one of ours that left? Wrecked Shadex. That is unfortunately our Ashe that has left the match. We will see if they decide to come back. What do we got going on over here? We got some funky little... Oh, there's somebody else over there. I shouldn't have... Yeah, that was my bad. Not this Urgot who just saw and was like, nope, I'm out. I'm not getting in the middle of that. Urgot, please. My R is not ready yet. No! It's alright. I appreciate the attempt there, Let him go. Let him run. It's alright. I'm going to get that dragon. Maybe. Nope. I guess I'm not. Yeah, we're kind of... Yeah, let's see how our party feels about this, but we're one down, and that's just bad. That's always bad. Yeah, it looks like we're calling this one. Being down that Ash is just not great. Oreo Neapolitan flavor. I feel like there's always something about Neapolitan flavor that tastes off to me, and I can't figure out what it is. It's specifically one of the ingredients. Maybe ingredients isn't the right word. It's one of the flavors. It's not the vanilla. It's the chocolate or the strawberry that always tastes funky in Neapolitan ice cream, and I can't figure out which one it is. But I will hold firm to that. Ever since I was like a young child, I've always thought there was something funky about Neapolitan. I don't trust it. They be putting something in the water. Level up. All right. Oh, 29. Almost high enough level to play ranked. Lever. You did pretty good compared to the rest of the team. Having somebody leave on bot lane with like this Xerath though was just it was bad. Oh, Eric, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in. Glad to have you. Welcome to the coven. Mwah. I love vanilla and strawberry, but not a big fan of chocolate and strawberry together. I think it really depends for me. I really like vanilla and strawberry. I like chocolate and strawberry, but I think I like chocolate and strawberry more in the sense of like actual chocolate and strawberry. Like chocolate dipped strawberries, that kind of thing, you know? Salem potentially doing ranked in the future. Absolutely, for sure. I mean, that's kind of why I've been excited to grind past up to the level 30, because until then, you can't do it anyway. And then I still have to get a couple more champions, but... Oh, I didn't open my champion capsule. It's okay. I think this will probably be the last game unless it ends real fast or something. But then we'll open up our loot box afterwards, and we'll see what we got. A ranked in game scares me. Yeah. It did to me too a lot before. But I've sort of gotten to this point where now I'm just like... I was kind of talking about this in another stream where I've played so many like games that are solo player that now playing an online game, I've realized even though the idea was scary, I don't register any of these people as people. My brain is just like, all right, we're playing our funky little game with its funky little characters, and they're gonna be doing stuff and things. So now it's like I said, I play it, I have fun, and I don't really think about what anybody else is saying because I also have my chat turned off. I don't see any chat messages from anybody I am not like partied up with like before the game starts. Oop, I hear Binks, so I'm going to hide and I'm going to let the boy in. I always get worried about my little pet because I don't know if they're kind of like a little step out. I don't know if they're still hidden or not. I can't tell. All right. Salem out here playing a massively single-player game. I've somehow managed to play the multiplayer online game as a single-player game. Hey, Binks, that's not for you. Just cat owner things. Oh no, my monster! Turning chat off is probably a good idea. Yeah. I'm not interested in anything anybody in chat has to say. Not in Twitch chat, I mean, but in League chat. Not gonna lie, one thing that made ranked in Splatoon bearable for me is that there's no online voice chat, so the no chat thing works. Yeah. I saw that there is voice chat in League, and I don't know what kind of nightmare scenario would what sort of nightmare compulsion would make somebody go, yeah, I'm playing League online. Why don't we meet all of my group members in the voice chat and say hello to everybody? That just sounds terrible. That sounds like you're asking for danger. Binks! What can I help you with? What do you need? He's so loud. That sounds like a good way to learn new slurs. Unfortunately, I think you may be correct on that. Sometimes voice chat is nice, but because occasionally you get nice people, but it's probably not worth the risk. Yeah. Like, of course, I'm sure not everybody in voice chat is, you know, like that TM, but just common enough that it's a scary thought. The Binks is meowing at the same time as my cat. It confused me. They got they're synced up. Don't forget to posture check after you finish. Oh, will do. Thank you. What is going on over here? Y'all got a little mess going on. Some people be trying to push a little too hard, a little too early, and I'm like, we gotta fall back, guys. It's not that intense yet. Let us all get to like level 6 or something first. Bluetooth cats, yeah. That sounds about right. That sounds like a feature that cats could have. Oh, yeah. So I started checking out the autumn I almost said the autumn summer sale, the autumn sale that Steam is doing too. I think for me there was nothing huge on my wish list that I was like that went on sale or anything that I was like really crazy over. I don't even know if it's still going on actually. Is the autumn sale still going on? But it seemed like when I checked that all of the stuff that was on sale was like, I mean, of course I have a wish list, so it's stuff that I wanted, but I'm gonna follow you really slow. There we go. There's sometimes you get what are you doing here? There's sometimes like that, like little matches that I feel like I get into in stuff in League though that just sort of feel like they feel like slap fights a little bit. I tried. I tried to chase him down. No frog. Autumn sale ended. Now to wait and now to wait for Christmas sale. Gotcha, gotcha. We can give it a shot. We'll see how this goes. I don't expect well, but ended on the 28th. Gotcha, gotcha. Oh, that's right. I guess it is like it's December already. That's crazy. Time's going by too fast. That's when you really don't know you've started to make the Animorph transformation into dust, is when you start saying stuff like that. You're like, oh, the days are just flying by. Oh. Oh, there was somebody there. Can it be June already, please? I miss warm. No. Oh. All right. Me and Fiddlesticks have decided to part ways amicably. I always think that's kind of funny when you're playing a round in this and you're just like, and you're just two people and you see each other and you're like, Ooh, you're right there, huh? Trying to be tricky? I might not make it out of this one. Yeah, I tried. It was worth a shot. Me and Fiddlesticks just be trading truly a death by 1,000 cuts kind of situation there. I'm cold. It's the thing with you could. I'm gonna sound like an old person. You can always with cold though. You know you can always put on more layers. You can always put on another sweater. When it's hot outside, this place you can't do anything about it. It's just like that. That's just how it is, and you have to deal with it. As a twink, I have 0 heat retention and jackets feel weird to wear. I'm kind of the same, but in the opposite direction. Also, I am also an anemic twink, but I love bundling. Like whenever I can't wear a jacket, I feel naked. I don't like it. I don't want to. I want to have jackets and layers and sleeves and scarves and coats and jackets. I love it. I love all that stuff. What are you gonna do when it's sweltering? Take off your skins? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I simply thrive. Nick's just stronger than all of us. Got that strong. Unless it's like 110, then it's bad. We do all have our limits, I believe. Oh, Big's trying to get cozy. This is very cute. I'll keep my summer with swap when June hits. Yeah, I'm not a summer fan personally, I gotta say. Hello, what are you? Please get out of here. I don't like you. What are you? What? Is this somebody's, like, ability? I'm sure it is, but I don't know why. Why do we got a bunch of tentacles? What kind of game is this? Get these things out of here. What are you doing? I see you down here. That's not the one I wanted to press. Oh, dang. That's alright. I figured my bleed might take care of one of them, but... Okay, so we know they didn't get Big Boy at least. I'll take that. Let's see if we can go grab the dragon real quick. This past July I had 29 consecutive days where it got above 110. Ugh. Ugh. Absolutely horrific. It's so, see, I'm a baby. It starts getting to like it starts getting to like 80 degrees or something, and I'm like, ugh, time to go. It's getting too hot. 85, unthinkable, disgusting. I should have taken care of their vision here first, but it is what it is. What's done is done. I'll just hope they don't try and interrupt me. Anytime it is a temperature, I perish. Yeah. Yeah, I grew up in a in a locale that is truly mostly barren of dang. Ugh, I was hoping I'd be able to do more than that. But yeah, I grew up in a place that is truly mostly barren of any actual weather. For better or for worse. Some people like it, some people get bored of it. I don't mind the consistency. It was kind of cool when I was in Tokyo though, and I got to have sort of a winter, what would you call it? Like a winter closet? Wardrobe, that's the word I was looking for. You got to have like a winter wardrobe? No, that's not what I wanted to do. But you got to ally. Who died? Oh, is that our mid lane? It's okay. It's okay. It was worth it. It's a trade. I don't know if it was worth it, but I saw an opportunity. But yeah, like I got to have like a winter wardrobe and like a summer wardrobe that looked distinctly different, and I've never had to do that before. So that was a cool thing having. I don't know. Maybe that just seemed cool because I'm from someplace with no weather. But like just the idea of actually having to like dress for the weather and all of that. Yes, do you guys really want to surrender? I don't think we need to. It's not that bad yet. Oh. Yeah, I guess they really wanted to surrender. Was it always more cold or hot though? I've lived in the same town. We get hot summers and cold-ish, down to 15 pretty often. Oh yeah, I mean for me, like, yeah, we don't get anywhere near 15 where I am. We get kind of to the edge of freezing, the border of freezing here and there, but nothing ever less than that. It's very like my area is very tepid temperatures. So going and being in like tropical 95-degree heat was quite quite the change. Okay, second most damage. I'll take that. Oh, not my KDA being decimal though. Do you have a favorite temperature? I would say my favorite temperature it's gotten colder over the years. I used to not like it really cold at all, but I think now I've gotten to a point where probably I would say maybe like if I had to pick the perfect temperature, 55 degrees Fahrenheit maybe, which is probably about, what is that? Maybe 10 or 11 degrees Celsius? 10 or 11? Something like that? Yeah, it's probably... What's the... Because there was a phrase that I heard a lot. There was like a phrase that I used to remember the conversion. Because I feel like trying to remember the math doesn't really help me. So there was a saying that I remembered that was for a Fahrenheit knower learning Celsius, that was 0 is ice, or what is it? No, it starts at 20. So 20 is hot, 10 is nice, 0... No, hold on. No, it starts at 30, I think. 30 is hot, 20 is nice, 10 is cold, and 0 is ice. I think that was the saying. So like 10 is like chilly, but not like freezing. And that's kind of where I like it. 55 is 12.7 Celsius. Hey, that's pretty close. I'll take that. That's about as close as I could have imagined myself getting. Perfectly comfortable in 76. Yeah, 76 I think it's starting to get a little bit warm for me there, but I can deal with that. My normal wardrobe is willing to comply with that. Still need to memorize the conversion. Yeah, I actually like kind of stopped trying to remember the exact conversion just because I feel like then it's just like numbers without context. You know, it's just like if you didn't know like Fahrenheit from being born with, it's like even if you technically know the numbers, it's sort of like it's just hard to tell intuitively what temperature is warm, what temperature is cold, all that. So that saying of 30 is hot, 20 is nice, 10 is cold, and 0 is ice. It truly got me through my got me through my understanding of any temperatures that were going on while I was in a new climate. I can do grams to ounces and kilometers to miles off the top of my head. I think kilometers to miles is like it's like 2.2 kilometers is 1 mile, something like that, right? It's something like that. There we go. $1.6, gotcha. Yeah, that's what I said. Like I said, I usually have kind of tried to start learning more intuitive understandings of some of those conversions rather than like just the mathematical ones. Of course, if you're getting into science, then you can't just eyeball it so much, but most of the time I'm just trying to understand how hot or cold it is when a friend tells me what temperature it is where they live, because I am a filthy American who only knows intuitively the imperial system. So 0 C and 100 C are freezing and boiling. Yeah, that was one thing I always heard with like Celsius and Fahrenheit, is that like the way I always heard it described is that Celsius is based off of how did they put it? Like how water feels, or like the way water deals with temperature, and that Fahrenheit has more to do with how humans experience temperature. So it's like, you know, it starts getting like, it's like 100 degrees is when it starts for most people. Obviously this is gonna, you know, change a little bit person to person and everything, but for most people I would argue, you know, at least before climate control and everything kind of started getting out of control, 100 degrees was quite hot for most people, and then, you know, 0 degrees is really where it starts getting like dangerous freezing weather for people. So it's sort of like the limits of the extremes of what like humans can handle is sort of how I had that's how I've heard of Fahrenheit explained before. At least I don't know how true it is, but at least in like a theoretical sense, like I feel like that sounds pretty reasonable. Like that sounds intuitive to have, like, you know, the hottest temperature people can generally handle, and the lowest temperatures people can generally handle. I don't know. I don't make the rules. I just went to grade school. Who is stealing my... I swear this is... I feel like this is my team. It has to be, because otherwise why is the rest of this still here? Because I think this is what's happening. So let me hold on, let me break it down. Because I think I started getting on this before and then I distracted myself, as I mostly am wont to do during conversations. So I think what's happening is this: if we're on this side of the field, you know, we start over in this is our base, and let's say normally the jungler starts right here. I start out by killing this guy over here. And what normally happens is whoever's closest will there'll be what's called a leash for you. And so they'll come over here and they'll start helping you kill the monster, because most of the time junglers are kind of weak starting out. So they help you kill it, and then they run off. But I think what's happening is they're coming over here thinking I'm coming over here, and then when I don't, I think they decide it's free game, it's free real estate, and then I think they're taking it. I think that's what's happening. I don't know that for sure. I could certainly be wrong, but that's what feels like it's happening to me. We could get a kill in here. We could get a kill in here for sure. Maybe not a kill, but we scared him off. We scared him off. Take care of some of these little guys down here too. Which also, yes, should I technically be killing the little minions there as a jungler? Perhaps not. What do you mean? That was from 1,000 years away. Why are you all here? Get away from my body. Filet mignon, no! That's pretty good. I mean, we could try. That didn't go great. It didn't go awful. They didn't get the dragon. I'll take that, I suppose. That was such a calm death. Once I get my level 6, I'm a little more okay with slaying the dragon. But right now, I'm a little... You know, we gotta wait. We gotta be patient. There we go. Now I can really listen to Salem, finally done with my project. Ooh, what kind of project were you working on, Curse, if you don't mind me asking? I would love to hear about any other projects that are not mine, because I have a statistics project that I should probably be working on soon, but I have not. I honestly like this is not really relevant to anything, but I have things to say on the subject. Oh, almost got him. I'm just not quite strong enough just yet. We're getting there. I think that truly statistics is so much more useful a math subject for people to learn in like high school and stuff than and I know some schools like teach some of it. I think my high school taught a little bit of statistics for students, but it's not enough. I truly think like when I took a statistics class, it was actually really interesting because I ended up taking a statistics class right in the middle of it, interesting in a way that I wish it wasn't, but if it had to be interesting, I suppose it was an interesting. How do I even phrase this? Essentially, I took my statistics class the year that the first Trump election was and everything, and so it sort of was there was a lot going on. There was, you know, a lot of electoral manipulation and stuff that was going on. And in my statistics class, we ended up covering a lot of the ways that like numbers can be manipulated and sort of like I mean, it's sort of a dark thing, I guess, but like we were literally taking stuff that was happening in real time and looking at some of like the statistics and how they were used, and there was really just so much like just such a sense of understanding and like numerical literacy and literacy with statistics that I got from that class that just like really made watching like all of the election and everything and all of the and even everything after, you know, things after that, you know, just regular like commercials and stuff with companies talking about studies they've done and stuff like that, you know. It's just it truly just like I can't understate like how impactful learning about statistics felt like it was to my like numerical literacy. It just felt like it just made such a big difference in kind of opening up my understanding of a lot of things, way more than anything like geometry or algebra or anything does. And I do think those classes are important, you know. And because you know, I think all of us in high school are like, oh, I don't want to do this. When am I ever going to use this? Like all that kind of thing. And I totally understand that. But I also have realized, like, as I've grown up, that a lot of the times that, you know, what we're learning in class isn't necessarily, we're not learning it to learn like math specifically, or hold on, sorry, let me take care of this guy here. Or at least but yeah, so it's like a lot of the time what we're learning in like in class, like with math, isn't necessarily, it's not made to be us memorizing like all of these formulas and stuff forever. You know, it's more meant to be an exercise of training your critical thinking skills. But I just think statistics really does that in a much better way, that feels more relevant and useful. Hehehe, got you in the bush there. Oh, we're going for a ride, huh? Well, let me catch up on chat. We gotta hide in the bushes for a second. Oh, I meant to be hiding in the bushes. Hold on. Get in the bushes. Actually just going into being an electrical apprentice, hopefully somewhat soon. My job offers that as the program. Oh, that's exciting. That's cool. Got him. Got him again. Memorizing formulas is a terrible way to teach math classes. Formulas can always be looked up. You have to know how to use them. Yeah. I think that's very Very true. What am I what am I doing? I don't know why. Just out of the corner of my eye, I thought our little guy had respawned here, and he had not. Can I sneak in and get this kill real quick? I'm gonna try. Yeah, and I mean, like, you know, I get the, like, not, you know, like the no calculator things and everything, trying to get you to, like, think about stuff, but, like, I don't know. It's complicated. It should be complicated a little bit. But just on the subject that we were on, at least, like, that's just my interpretation, is that it feels like statistics class is just so truly so much more meaningful to understanding, I think, in a daily way, than like algebra and geometry is. Like, they're important, but they're just not, you know, as daily applicable, I think. Alright, so we'll see if this is able to take this out. Probably not, but... Ooh, what's y'all kind of dropping like flies over there? There we go. I just made a video, but it felt weird to say that, so call it a project. No, that's y'all good. Call it whatever you like. In some way, we actually use some form of statistics every day. Sometimes we don't even realize it. Algebra, though. I can't count a single day after high school that I ended up using the quadratic formula. Yeah, I mean, like, that's stuff I'm talking about, where I'm not saying, like, stuff like that shouldn't be taught just because it's not something that we, use often. I just think that, what do I think? Jeez, I can't even get my... I can't get my words straight. Like, I think that learning math and stuff like that is like a good exercise for critical thinking skills, even if it's not necessarily... Oh god, I thought that was the other team coming for me. But yeah, like, I get why that stuff is taught, in the sense that it develops like critical thinking skills. But I think at the very least it should be taught alongside stuff with a more practical application like statistics, if not replaced by it. You know, I've never looked at or done any, tried to understand if, you know, there was the same level of critical thinking skills that were, oh, Hecarim got me there, that are provided by, you know, statistics as algebra or geometry does, but I couldn't imagine there would be that significant a difference. My general thought is that teaching is good, but forced assessment is not. Yeah, that's kind of where I stand too, I think. I'm with you on that. You need to seek help. I'm gonna get you professional. You have to be saved from League. But this is a good time. I'm trying to get to ranked, Tago. How am I ever gonna challenge Faker if I don't start playing ranked? go. I do need to let Binks out in just a moment because he do be... Oh, there's nobody over here. What am I doing? Alright, Volbear. We getting... Okay, I'm now on my cooldowns. Ah, please take him out. Take him out. You got this. Maybe you don't got this. Oh, they're so tanky. They're so tanky. I love you so much. I can't let you play ranked. I honestly wish my high school had really pushed statistics and said they pushed most of us through trigonometry. Yeah, it's just like, I don't feel like this is bad enough that we need to surrender. It's not great, but I gotta let my little guy out. Okay, I should have just hidden in some bushes. I'd take a little risk of stepping away like that, but. Yeah, I think like it felt like when I was younger, a lot of the push for like the math subject was always like, you know, the big one was like calculus, you know, like if you were taking a calculus class, you were a genius, you know, everybody wanted you to, like, you know, that was the goal for if you wanted to be like the smart kid with like the good resume for Harvard and all that, was like, you know, you got to take calculus. But as somebody who has taken calculus, it is truly like, it is, I think by the time you're getting to calculus, that's the point where you're like, okay, like outside of, you know, people like computer scientists and stuff that use this like as, that use like, how do you put this? Because there's a lot of skills that computer scientists use that are, or like programmers and stuff, that are very, they do require high level like problem solving and reasoning skills and stuff that would be present in something like calculus. But it's not outside of, you know, things like that. It doesn't feel like there's really a reasonable explanation why calculus would be like a general subject. I don't think we need to surrender yet. Calculus is super important to engineering and stuff. Yeah, of course. Like what I'm talking about is more so oh, I didn't realize you were over here. But yeah, like I'm more talking about in fields where it's less. Sorry, I'm really trying to get this Hecarim real quick. There we go. Jesus, he's a speedy boy. But no, yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm dragging my team along. They seem to want to be done, but I just don't think we need to surrender yet. Yeah, I'm talking just in general. Like, of course there are, you know, degrees and jobs and things that require a knowledge of things like calculus and stuff. I'm more just talking in the sense of the way a lot of these math classes are used for teaching people like deductive reasoning skills and stuff. I just think that by the time you're getting to things like calculus, I think if you're just talking on like an average level of stuff classes people are taking for general education, I just think calculus is more than what needs to be there, you know? V-Berry, thank you so much for the follow. It's good to have you here with us. Sorry, you kind of caught me in the middle of like a analytical conversation about calculus. I know it's not super fun, but it's good to have you here with us. Thank you so much for stopping in, and welcome to the Coven. Mwah. Let's see. Ran him the hell down. Yeah. I really had to chase that boy. Literally me taking Calc 3 in college. Like, I'm a bio major. What'll I be using this for? Yeah. That's sort of like, that was sort of, I had a similar issue. My degree or my plan of study is in, I can't take that volibear on my own, I don't think. Is programming related, but it is not programming. And I still had to take a lot of the programming types of math courses for it. And it was not, I wouldn't call it ideal. There were a lot of classes that I took where I was like, this doesn't feel helpful for me. Oh, I almost got that Hecarim. Dang. Okay, somebody else is saying no to the surrender. It's not just me, chat. There's some weirdos who like that sort of thing. Yeah, of course. Like, I know the joke, like, there's like the joke that, nobody likes math and whatever, but like, I think that like, of course, there are people that like it and enjoy it and find it very intellectually stimulating. Maybe we should have surrendered. This team is kind of steamrolling us a little bit. They're all just so tanky. It's kind of a bad matchup, I think. That might just be copium, but I do think that. Let's see. As a programming major, I feel like math is just a skill check for students. Honestly, you're kind of right, Lilin. Don't you try and pot shot me. There was a kid in grade 7 who loved math so much. Yeah, and I like I loved reading when I was younger, and like this was, when reading was starting to become like a thing that people were like, that kids would be really passionate about and stuff, but it was still sort of at the tail end. So like, I know back then, everybody was like, you like reading? You actually like, you like to read? But like, and so I'm sure like there are a lot of people that had that same experience with math and stuff, and I truly do think like math is something I always thought I was so bad at it in high school. But as I got older, like I really feel like I've kind of come to this I don't know, understanding, I guess, that being good at math is kind of a choice. You sort of like, it really is something that you have to choose. Because it doesn't necessarily come easy, but I think it is possible for anybody who wants to be good at math. And of course, it's going to take some people more time, but I just think, in my experience going through a lot of my math classes and stuff in college, compared to like when I was a high school student, college math felt so much more doable than high school math. I truly think there are so many more resources at your disposal in college than there are in high school. Or at the very least, because you're paying for your schooling, you're kind of more motivated to seek out those resources, I suppose. Oh, I got really ganged up on there. I could do nothing. I could do nothing there. Yeah, and I mean, like, of course, like, I don't want to make it sound like it's, like, if you're not good at math, you chose to not be good at math. That's not what I'm trying to say. I just want to make it clear. Like, of course, it's more difficult for some people, like, but I think it is within the realm of possibility for just about anybody. Math is made up by big calculators to sell number boxes. I'm tired of pretending it's not. Oh, yeah, this one I think is maybe looking bad for us. It's not looking great, boys. Hey, you know, we came in, we killed one, we knocked a couple back. That's all I got, baby. At high school, I have a reading program with a year 11 student because I was struggling. That's cool. They have things like that, though. I remember when I was younger, they had sort of a similar thing with, okay, we could surrender. I say clicking that as we lose. Yeah, I will say those, like, all the, like, TI, what is it, like, TI 84 or something like that, TI 97, GI Joe 38. Ugh, I can't remember. Whatever those calculators are that they tell you that you need in, like, 11th grade and they're $700. Yeah, I'm not fond of that. That's not my favorite. I think, I could be wrong, but I think they're just that expensive purely because that company sort of has, like, a monopoly on them. Is that correct? I might be wrong. I might just be saying absolute garbage, but I'm pretty sure, I feel like I remember reading that there's no actual reason that they're really that expensive, which makes sense. I mean, like, that's kind of what I figured, but time to uncrunch. Yes. Nyx and Amy, I'm sure I probably had a couple stretch imposter checks I missed. I'm so sorry. But let me get one of those in. Let me get some of those in for you. Oy, oy, oy. Thank you. The Jukes. What did I get for the Jukes? Dodge 5 skill shots. All right. Dodge 5 skill shots within 8 seconds. Okay. We've done that a few times, I guess. All right. So we do have, we got loot boxes to open. We got loot boxes. Champion capsule, okay. Okay, we got a Mumu, we got a champion shard, and we got a Shen champion shard. Alright. So 270. I don't have very much blue essence right now, but at least if I can get, like, just a couple of these cheaper champion shards once I hit level 30, then I can play ranked, baby! We can be rancid. Staring disrespectfully at the Sona skin in your inventory. That was very funny for yeah. Apparently I got, like, the first like, champion capsule I opened like that had this DJ Sona skin in it, which is apparently like a $30 skin. Which I don't know nothing about this character, but it was kind of cool getting something rare starting right off. Had work today, so I'm just slowly uncrinking my back. Oh, me waking up in the morning like that too. Just I feel like I sleep in all of the ways except for whatever the ways that are normal. I'm old now. I always managed to hurt myself in my sleep. I've been thinking about who I want to learn next. Let me actually switch back to my main screen real quick. So we're gonna get some calm music going and stuff, and yeah, we're gonna finish up there with League for the night, I think. So, but I will see you guys on my main screen. Oh, all right. So we're a little tiny. Be large. Enlarge. There we go. There we go. But yeah, so it's just it's I can't even remember what I was saying. I've lost the thread. Smallent, yes. Based purely off things I've seen on the internet today, I vote Ezreal. Ezreal do be a popular twink. He do be a popular twink. Ready for EPs? Oh, you ready to get tucked in, get comfy? Me too. I think I'm gonna. I still haven't finished this milkshake. I'm gonna finish up the stream. I'm finish up my milkshake, and maybe get some get some Oreos, get a little snack or something just to get cozy with. Just wind down, have a little quiet time, a little rest, you know. Getting EP myself. Oh, Amy, ready for bed as well. If you aren't careful, I'll Daniel Plainview it all the way from. I don't even know what Daniel Plain. I don't know who that is. Oh, yeah, it do be rest time. It do be time to get some sleep. I think. Do it. Did I drink your milkshake? It's from There Will Be Blood. Oh, I haven't seen that, unfortunately. There's a meme for a bit. I tend to miss some of those. Now is just gonna try and find somebody to raid real quick. For those of you who would like to join in, whoever we end up raiding and saying hello to. If you'd like to stick around for a couple more minutes, you do get some extra channel points for using on tarot redeems and ASMR redeems and all of that. But if you're headed to bed, I know plenty of people seem to be sleepy, so please don't stay up. Don't push yourself. It's good to have you either way, though. It's nice to say hello to everyone. I think since it does seem like we have we got a sleepy chat today, I think we'll go somewhere. I think you guys will enjoy. We'll enjoy some sleepy time. Somewhere you could rest, somewhere quiet. I got somebody doing some ASMR for you guys. Need to go and do housework? Of course! Please do whatever you gotta do. Sweet dreams. Oh, thank you, Amy. I hope that for you as well. Probably should have gone to bed a while ago. It do be like that sometimes. This is sitting awake at 5 a.m. and you're like, yeah, I shouldn't be here. I should be asleep. But either way, thank you all so much for coming. It was wonderful. Hold on, let me try that one again. English, you know. Thank you all so much for coming. It was wonderful to have all of you. So here is going to be our raid message. We're going to go for just a comfy raid. So here's the raid message. If you are subscribed already, you have the Salem Sparkle emote. If you're not, you can purchase it for 80 channel points and you can make the Salem Sparkle emote all your own. Thank you all so much for coming. It was wonderful to have you all. Thank you so much. Please say hello with the raid. Share some of the love. Thank you all so much. I will see you all technically later tonight. Have a good one. Have a good rest. Have a good time zone. Goodbye. 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 Gooby.